Hello everyone and welcome to New Gjalt 101. In this video I will show you how you can use our TMS FNC DataBinder. We've been working on multi-component and multi-data source binding for quite some time now, and I cannot stress this enough, but due to the fact that it is FNC, it is cross-framework and cross-platform as well. It is a non-visual component that acts as a bridge between components and data sources with the use of RTTI to detect bindable properties. This is just the first implementation, so it will get additional functionality, but for the moment it is read-only and you can use it to bind single values, lists or grids. I will show you three different ways on how you can use the TMS FNC DataBinder. We will bind the XML data from a file to a TMS FNC listbox, and in that way we will create three identical TMS FNC listboxes. I will do this in VCL, but as I already mentioned, it is FNC, so you can do it in FMX, Lazarus and TMS Web Core as well. As I previously mentioned, you can do it for a single value, a list or a grid, and if you need more information on the other types, I will leave a link in the description to a blog post, and there you can find additional documentation as well. So in VCL we'll need a TMS FNC listbox. I will change some default settings to the default item. I will set the bitmap height to 30, the bitmap width to 40 and the height to 35 of the item. We'll need a client dataset, which we will bind to our XML. We will load it here, our XML document. Then a data source, for which we will set the dataset to our client dataset. And then the FNC DataBinder. Now we will bind via right clicking. So the first way is the editor. This can also be called in runtime, but now we'll show it in design time. So you can bind to the client data, to the FNC listbox. We will need to bind it. So you can see the binded component is the listbox. We'll make a list and now we'll edit this. So we'll set our first category to the items, but as the items are a class, we will get a subarray which you can set, and now we can set here the common name to the text. Okay. Oh, and we need to put it on active. There we've got the list of our fish. We can add something, so we'll just add the image, for example. So let's click on this. Let's set the graphic data to the bitmap, and there we have it. Now this is just text and image binding, but we can also use HTML. So we'll just go back, and now the edit mode, so where we have the common name as text, will now create HTML text. So in bold we set with the hashtag to the field name common name, and we'll close the bold, and then in italic we'll add the category. So, and just in normal way the graphic with the bitmap stays the same. So here we have now a nice image with the name of the fish and the category of the fish. This is the first way. For the second way, this is programmatically done in code, and I've already added a new TMS FNC listbox and a button to bind the data. But first we will need a item, the TTMSFNCDataBinderItem. Then we will set some settings to put it in the same way as the first one. So we'll set the bitmap width, height and the item height, and we'll clear the items. Then another important thing is the begin and end update. I will now copy the snippet. So we'll add a item to the DataBinder component. We'll set the object of that item, so to which we will bind to the listbox 2. Then the bind type is of course again a list. We will use the data source 1, which is the data set of our XML object. Then the property name items, as we did previously in the editor. And then we'll use the sub-property names array, where we add the text value and the subfield name, for which we will use the fields. And here I use the same HTML text as I did in the editor as well. So, and then we'll add another entry for the bitmap and the graphic. And as you can see, there we have it, just the same as the first one. And for the third way, we will use the same code as we did in the second approach, but now we will combine it in one function. I'll just set a new onClick event for this. So we'll start off by just setting again the same bitmap height, width, and so on. And then we'll call the TMS FNC DataBinder. And now we can connect. So as I already mentioned, we have the single value that we can connect, the list, the column list, and the grid. And you also have the ability to add the HTML template or not. So in case you want to just add the normal items, I'll go on with it. So we've got the list box that we need to bind to with our data source 1. Then the property name is still items. Then the sub property names field. So this data that we've added here in the second method is all coming back now in just one function. So we'll create an array with a text and a bitmap. And then the field names that we used are the common name and the graphic. So this is how you can do this, but because we are trying to show this with HTML, you have to do connect list HTML template. And now there is still some problem with this, because as we are trying to combine HTML text with a non-HTML bitmap, this is not working. So we'll need to remove the bitmap here. So just add the common name with the text that we used here in the HTML template. And then we'll need to assign this to a item as we did previously, to the binder item. So we assign it here to a binder item, and then we just add the graphic as a non-HTML item with the code that we used in the previous FNCListbox. So this is because we use HTML and non-HTML for the moment. But if we run this, then we have the second one and the third one, and they are all identical. So these are the 3 different ways how you can easily bind your data in FNC. As I already mentioned, this is the first implementation of the TMS FNC DataBinder, so a lot of functionality will be added on the way. For the moment, it detects if there are changes in the dataset and it updates the components values automatically. And we plan to add in future updates the possibility to write to the dataset and to change the active record based on the selection. Thank you for watching. Till the next time.